Hey, welcome back to the Colts Corral. I'm Brian Bibey, your host, and today's episode is extra special. And we're joined by head coach Nick Mayle and head trainer Mike Holliday, who not only keeps our athletes healthy, but also served our country as a proud veteran. The Colts closed the regular season with a 55-8 win over Lincoln last Friday night, and they've earned the number 3 seed in the WVSSAC Class AA playoffs. They're going to host South Harrison this Friday night at home, and that's the team they beat earlier this year. So we're going to recap the Lincoln game. We're going to preview the playoff matchup, and then we're going to honor Mike's service and contributions to the Colts. Gentlemen, let's get after it. Coach Mayle, Lincoln game recap. Let's talk about it. What stood out most to you in that 55-8 win over Lincoln?
I think our defense played really well. We kind of kept them guessing a little bit because Lincoln's offense is, really well coached. They have a great quarterback in A.J. Bart, and we just did a good job of, being on assignment, not letting him just kind of sit in the pocket. We kept him kind of off platform a little bit and just really executed the defensive game plan really well, and which then allowed for our offense to control the ball, and we were able to run the ball really well, which also limits their time of possession on offense. Overall, just a good job on both sides of the game, both sides of the ball there. But special teams, we left a little bit for desire in the future. Some things we got to clean up there, but overall, it was a good win.
I'd say you guys did well on the ground. 55 carries for 392 yards and 6 touchdowns. I believe a man and coaching staff take that all day long.
Oh yeah, it's a good night when you can run the ball well. So
Certainly.
yeah, I mean,
Certainly.
and then
Well, Coach,
Landon
let's
Carpenter did
talk
a great
about
job.
this. How'd the seniors lead the way in that regular season finale?
Yeah, we had Cam Bennett came out, had a first part of the game really great, and then had a little ankle injury there, and then some younger guys stepped up. Tristan Price stepped up and played his position on defense really well, and the other seniors kind of rallied around it, and helped carry the team through the rest of the game, and just did a great job up front there with Malachi and Dayton and Owen Johnson playing O line there, and Aiden Phillips on the O line did a great job opening up holes as far as seniors, and just defensively did a great job as well. So Pat Webster was all over the place in the secondary. Malachi Poling did a great job of kind of locking up their main target. They really played well on senior night.
Yeah, I want to second that, and I echo your guys' sentiments too. I mean, those seniors played lights out. So always good to get a win that final regular season game. But hey, let's switch gears, man. Let's talk about the playoffs. I mean, that's what we do, right? You work towards that all year long. Third straight year for the Colts, which is a record for the Philip Barbour program. What's the mindset heading into the opening round against South Harrison? I mean, this is a team you guys played just a couple weeks ago and beat. What's the mindset?
The regular season's kind of the dress rehearsal for the postseason. So you come into the postseason, it don't really matter what your record is or if you played the team before. I mean, everybody's 0-0. So we can't. It's really hard to beat a team twice because their coaching staff's doing the same thing as us. They're trying to figure out ways to improve what they do or add things to what they're doing in order to be successful. And so they're gonna try to have some answers for the problems that we caused. So our goal is to cause more problems than they have answers on both sides of the ball. And then, we had great special teams play in that first meeting. I think we returned 3 kickoffs. So they're probably not going to allow that to happen again. We just got to make sure that we are sound in everything we do and be disciplined and execute the game plan.
Coach, is there anything you guys have to do to prepare your team a little differently for a team that you've already beat earlier in the season?
Well, I think the big thing is just the mental part of it. Because you can go into a fight and win a fight, and then think you're going to go and fight that same guy and win again, and then they knock your block off. So we can't come in with the attitude of this game was already won once, so they're going to give it to us again. So just being mentally prepared so that we aren't taking anything lightly, and that we're still, playing to the standards that we set, no matter who we play. So, that's the big focus that we've had, and then just making sure that we're clean on things that maybe we weren't as clean on the first time that we played them, and being prepared for things that they may change. For us, defensively, if what adjustments we got to make, and then offensively, things that we can do to execute better or change some things up too on our offense.
I want to dive into a little bit about what Mike Holiday means to the team for you guys. He's been around a long time, and I've seen his work firsthand. And how important has Mike been to keeping this team ready and healthy, quite frankly, throughout the season?
Yeah, we have Mike, and then we have Gina DeLauder and Morgan Polling. They help out. Mike is volunteering his time. He reached out to me a couple years ago, and he runs his own business, and he's involved in a lot of things. And so he said he wanted to help, but even if it was on a volunteer basis. So we worked that out to make it happen. And he's here on game nights, and then if kids got injuries or whatever, then he can see them and treat them. And it's a process. I mean, football is it's not a contact sport; it's a collision sport. So kids are going to get banged up, and you're going to have injuries, minor or major injuries. But he's did a really good job all year of getting kids back ahead of schedule. They go to the doctor and they give them like a diagnosis of they're going to be out X amount of weeks or whatever, and Mike works his magic, and he gets them back on track sooner than anticipated. So that's a great asset to have for our program, and he does a great job. He's got a great testimony and that he shared with the team. So it just fits into what we are as a program. And he's a great man as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Coach, that insight there, and how Mike and the other trainers help you guys stay healthy throughout the season. And what last question for you, Coach? What's your message to the fans as this playoff push begins?
This is the second year in a row that we've hosted a playoff game. Last year was the first time in school history, and I know the weather was kind of poopy, and there wasn't a whole lot of people came to a playoff game. That was the first time that happened in school history. But this week it's going to be a little bit cooler, maybe in the 40s, warmer than today, or definitely warmer than yesterday when we had practice. But just showing up, because just with these seniors, I told them, like, now every game is your last game. Because you don't know when it's going to end, because they're kind of in a precarious situation where in years past, when you have senior night, that's your last game. Now we're in the playoffs and kind of made a habit of it the last few years. So you go to the playoffs and you don't know when your last game's going to be. If you win, you keep going. If you lose, it's done. You're over. So, just for the fans to come out and support these guys, especially this senior class has been a part of something special. Just coming out and supporting them, and if we do our job this week, I mean, and execute everything we need to do, and are fortunate up to come away with a win, then we'll get to host another one next week. So hopefully it builds some excitement in the community, and for these kids to feel that energy and know that they're supported and loved by their community.
No, great, well said, Coach. Appreciate that. We'll circle back with you for some final thoughts after we talk with Mike. Mike, first of all, happy Veterans Day to you, and thankful for your service. I want to get that up front. Thank you. Appreciate you. Mike, what does a typical game week look like for you in terms of player care and preparation?
Well, for me, can y'all hear me okay?
We got you. And by the way, we think Mike's at a secret location due to his internet. So we won't disclose where he's at, but he may still be doing some military stuff. We're just not sure.
There you go.
So we'll get that out of the way.
I'm spec ops, man. If I tell you, I gotta. These are confirmed kills on me. I tell some of the kids on the team that they believe me. But so what was the question?
What what's a typical game week look like for you in terms of player care and preparation?
Okay, well, so it seems like every week this year that I have a kid or two or three that might be coming to me for that got hurt either in practice or off the field or in a game, and they choose to come to me for therapy. So that's my number one goal is to make sure they're safe and if they're ready to play to communicate that with the coaches. And but during the week I'll talk with Gina and Morgan because they're with the team more during the week. I help cover Monday night JV games. Of course, that's over, and then Friday nights is about my role because I volunteer and then I have to work here at my clinic. And so yeah, then Friday night I try and get there, or Friday evening right after school if I need to treat a kid, like get them over there as soon after 3 as possible, and start taping ankles and wrists and fingers and whatnot, and then helping out on just hanging out on the sidelines and whether it's water or a towel, and then if somebody gets hurt, I run out on the field and with the other trainers, Morgan and or Gina, and then assess it and hopefully get them back. But if not, we have to send them to either sit them out or send them to go get checked out.
What's been the biggest challenge in keeping athletes healthy during a long season, Mike?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is some of the kids, they get hurt on Friday night, act like, they just got shot with a 30-06 and they can't walk and swear. And then we get them, maybe get an x-ray, and then they don't want to do the rehab. They just kind of think, and like I said, and the ankle, I've done articles in the paper and the Barbour Democrat that it's the most under-rehabilitated injury there is, because they swear they broke it, then they go get x-ray, found out they didn't, and then they hobble around, and then all of a sudden it does start feeling better, but those tissues aren't healed, and they just go out there, they might get a tape job, might not, and then the worst thing is if they do it again, then they get a chronically unstable ankle, and then that makes everybody's job harder. And so that's one of the biggest ones. And finding out, are they really hurt? Do they need to go to another level? Or can I handle it in my clinic, with just some tape and some exercise, maybe some ultrasound, and my new machine that's really been great to help a couple of the kids out. And
yeah. No, and I can only imagine. Certainly Gina and the other trainer on staff there too. I mean, shout out to those folks. They like you said, they're doing it throughout the week, and then I'm sure they probably report back to you. Hey, this is what we've been dealing with this week as you prepare them for Friday night. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Mike, I want to talk to you about it is Veterans Day, and I want to spotlight you. Special thanks to Coach Mayle for asking to bring you on because I think it's a great idea. I wanted to talk. Can you share a little bit about your military service with us? Can you talk about your branch that you served in, the role that you were in, and what that experience taught you?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Well, way back, my dad had been a tail gunner in the Navy right after World War II, so I really was always fond of the Navy. And then, as I shared in my testimony, I won't go too deep into it right now, but I got into some mischief, with alcohol and fighting, from about 17 to 22, and had got myself in some predicaments, and I couldn't get in. And my lawyer thought I ought to be a Navy SEAL. I didn't know what a SEAL was, except an animal, and I was kind of an animal back then. But anyhow, I couldn't get in. They wouldn't take me because of the mischief I'd been in. The Army didn't even want me in. And the Marine Corps, the Marine Corps is my last choice. A lot of, and they did actually. But then I got in kind of the back door. First, it was the Texas National Guard. Then the West Virginia Army National Guard. Went to basic training Fort Dix. Ended up here in Morgantown, and B Battery, and the 201st Field Artillery, and we actually we got activated for Desert Storm. We got attached to the 18th Airborne Corps, and so that and then by doing that, I ended up with a security clearance because of wartime and everything. And then after I got my degree in athletic training and then physical therapy, I was fortunate enough to I had a security clearance because of all that. And then I got in the Navy. They made me an officer, and so I did 6 years with the Army National Guard, and then 5 years with the Navy. And most of that was at Bethesda Naval Hospital. First as a physical therapist, but then I got to be the command fitness leader for like 400 reservists and run the fitness program there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, pretty real cool.
Let me ask you this, Mike. It sounds like it. I mean, do you believe that the military set you on the right course for life after all the things you've gotten into early in your life?
Well, first I ought to back up, and I don't want to over spiritualize this and anything, but first of all, I got to give God changed my life through a relationship with Jesus Christ. That at 22, and that it was right after that I ended up getting in the Army National Guard. My cousin's like, "Have you prayed about it?" I'm like, "Well, because I'm like, they won't take me," and I thought, "Well, heck, I'll try it." And next thing you know, I'm in, and so that was a super fortunate thing. And then, but then going to basic training, advanced individual training after that. Just learning to work with a team, learning how to work on your own, how to be able to take orders, and then they saw something in me, made me a squad leader. I didn't really want to be one platoon leader, and so we kind of I had to be in charge of other guys, or else it came down on me, and then so I was accountable for them, and then to a higher up, and that's kind of how life works. If you're in a job, whether with a team, we have team captains, we have guys that are leaders. But I mean, the discipline that I was able to be given. I mean, I was because I was hard nosed in high school. I played at a big high school, did well in football, but I wasn't disciplined. I just was a hoodlum, I was right outside of Washington D.C. But I won't say if I could have been better or would have been, or if I hadn't got into all that, but I see these guys with Coach Mayle and a lot of the other guys that they pray with her. If a kid gets hurt, they pray with them. We have a pastor comes in, kind of like our chaplain. They pray. Some of the kids lead their own prayers, and it's just a different mindset. And I tell people this where I used to go to school, or some folks I know around the country, they're just shocked that a public school that we get to do that, and I think that makes a huge difference. I mean, it makes all the difference because they're not just. Sure. These coaches don't just want to win football games. They want to create men of substance, men of character, and yeah. And by the way, and I just realized I did the math. It was 30 years ago that I first stepped out on the football field with Philip Barbour, and man, I had some of the coaches were my athletes and stuff, and yeah. So it's funny. Everybody else has gotten older except for me.
I know. Like I said, you and I talked previously, and you and I go way back, man. And you've been around a long time. We appreciate everything you've done. Again, just so the viewers and the listeners know, Mike's coming to us from an undisclosed location with satellite internet, so we don't know where he's at. So we just want to let you know, if you're watching, the video might be blurry. That's by design. We don't know where Mike's at right now. So just a heads up. So we're
it's
joking.
Like a hunting lodge behind me.
I know it. I love it. Well, Coach, let's talk about this, Mike. What does Veterans Day mean to you personally?
Oh, it's got to be one of my favorite holidays, but besides Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter. But I I never would work on Veterans Day. I've done some stuff I think last year with the team, but if I worked for somebody else, I would take off. If I was in college, I'd take the day off when they used to not give it to us off. But it really means a ton to me, to especially see now that but when I would march, and I would always try to march in a parade, especially in Philippi or Beelington, and seeing it used to be, and it's, blink your eye. I can remember some World War II vets marching in that. They're gone. Some of them were my relatives. A lot of Korean War vets are gone. And heck, now I used to be like one of the young pups, and I'm not quite such the young pup, compared to some of these guys in the American Legion and stuff. So, but Veterans Day just really caused me to reflect on, and especially when I see, like, I ran into two guys that I served in Desert Storm with today. One was over. I told Coach Mayle I went and got like 5 different meals today. Coach Mayle knows I like to eat, and went to a couple of Sheets, went to the Roadhouse, went to Applebee's, and it seems like something. But anyhow, I ran into a guy I was in Desert Storm with in Applebee's, him and his fiance, and then I ran into a local guy, Hunter Mullins, who's a lawyer in town, and right in Sheets. And so, but yeah, it's just a camaraderie means a ton, and I don't feel like a hero or whatnot, but some of these kids, just I know their parents taught them to, but some random girl comes up to me and Applebee's and taps me and says, sir, gives me a little card. I have it actually right here. Just thank you for your service. And also my allergies started acting up. I got all teary-eyed and stuff, But
I understand. I understand. That's a beautiful thing, though, and it's across the country, man. We're able to do the things, and we're able to have this conversation today because of men like you that served. And certainly, again, can't thank you enough for everything and all your peers, and the guys and gals that come before us and will go behind us. So, I want to ask you a couple questions here with your connection to the team. Last 2 questions. What do you enjoy most about working with these players and these coaches?
What I enjoy most, and especially this in the last 2 years, I kind of already alluded to it, that a lot of these coaches are, I know I've gone to church with them, and I just know that they're instilling, not just winning football games, and that is important. It's not emphasized, but just character is demonstrated from the leadership. These coaches hold themselves to a higher level, and then they hold the athletes to that. And so that's. Did I answer your question? I do that all the time.
Did.
My ADD on you.
No, you did. You did. That's what I want. Wanted to ask you. The last question I have for you. Well, I do have a fun one for you, because I asked the players a question, and I want to ask you this. The first question is, any favorite memories from this season so far that you'd like to give a shout out?
Boy, there's so many of them. Actually, can I go back to last year? Because it kind of ties right over into this year too. But I'm out there. I do a lot of yelling. I didn't realize that anybody even heard me or listened to me. And Marcus Johnson, coached up through last year, and I'm we're getting ready for a playoff. I think he yelled to the team. What does Holiday always say? And it's, how about a sack? And I'm just getting fired up. And so that and then when some of these guys are coming to me, they're asking, maybe coming to me for therapy, but they're asking me about my service. What do you think about serving in the Navy or the Marine Corps? And But I guess going back to probably this year when I got to share my testimony, because I mean, it's the first 50 to 75% is pretty ugly. About the hoodlum and the heathen that I was, and how I struggled even after being a Christian, for the next 20 years with substances, and I was a stat of two of those sad statistics for veterans. High divorce rate, high substance abuse rate, and then at 22 suicides a day. And thankfully, the third one, I put down the shovel and quit digging before I became a stat of all three. And then just to hear these have these guys, the athletes, come up and thank me for that. That night, or then their parents tell me that they had shared with them, what I had, a little bit of what I said. So it's a double-edged. I mean, so I guess they do hear me and listen to me and watch me. So that's really inspiring, but also makes me realize that I need to be, watch my walk and what I do, and
Certainly.
because
No, that's great. That's great information. That's a great answer. I appreciate that. Last fun question. All right. I ask the players, usually when I'm talking to them on the interview, what's the craziest thing you've heard on the sideline that you can share with us?
Family show, Mike.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess kind of. It was at a JV game at Buchanan the other night, and that's why. Why I jokingly I told one Aiden Phillips one. He said something about the coach had told him, and I said, "Hey, ask Coach Mayle. Tell him that if he'll stick to coach, and I'll stick to being the trainer and the therapist." And so then I'm out on the field at Buchanan, and it's right before half, and Tristan's running the ball, and we only got like 14 seconds left, and I'm thinking, we got to get one more play off. And I'm like, get out of bounds. So he runs out of bounds. He might have could have scored. And Mayle's like, Mike, he could have. Why did you make him run out of bounds? And I'm like, touche. I'll stick to training. You stick to training. So.
I can appreciate that. The passion, man. That's it. That's what the kids love. The kids love the passion. So, well, let's do this. Coach Mayle, I want you to give a shout out to a veteran, a couple of veterans that maybe you're related to that you'd like to tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we have, Mike Morrill was on staff with us there last year, and he did a lot of missions and all kinds of stuff, and I think he brought a flag back to us that we raised that was in an undisclosed location. He still couldn't talk about where it was at, and having that in our locker room was pretty awesome. I got some family that have been in the military. My cousin Greg was in the 82nd Airborne. His daughter Sarah was she was in the Navy and spent a lot of time in a naval hospital working as a nurse and whatnot. And then my dad was in there for a little bit, and he was kind of like kind of like Mike in that he was kind of a hoodlum, and he going to the military kind of straightened him out. And even though he didn't make his full term, he got sent home a little early, but he still says, to this day that he thinks that everybody should have to serve a couple of years in the military just to give them those values and work ethic. And, and I saw that man, get up and go to work with, be sick as a dog and pretty much crawl out of bed and still go pour concrete for the day. So it definitely instilled some values in him as well. And, my Uncle Charlie, he was a 25 year in the Navy. He traveled all over the world and worked as a helicopter mechanic and stuff. And it's in my family. I wasn't fortunate enough to join the military, but I have the utmost respect for everybody that we don't have a draft anymore. So people that are joining the military, they're doing it of their own free will and accord to serve our country and, protect, their family and protect people that don't even know them. They're just serving the country, and so it's an honorable thing to do, and I definitely have the utmost respect for each and every one of them.
Yeah, well said. I'm going to give two shout outs myself. One is a former coach of Philip Barbour and a family member of ours, Ron Harsh, Coach Harsh. Believe it or not, Coach Harsh was on the submarine for a year or two. So he was on submarine duty. So that if you talk about tough, I can't even imagine. Coach Harsh, if you're listening, hey, thank you, man. And then my dad, the old Vietnam vet, Roger Bibey, appreciate you, bud. Thanks for everything you've done and your service over in Vietnam. So I just want to give a shout out to those two.
And then as a group, I want to, the VFW 410 there in Belington, Bernie Corley and his team, if they wouldn't have put in the effort they did, we wouldn't have this 80-foot flagpole out front. That was something that was important to them. So they raised the majority of the money and got it and made it happen. So, that whole VFW chapter up there, really awesome.
Couldn't agree more. We need to do a better job of thanking all of our veterans every day, not just one day on November 11th. So I'll leave it at that. Guys, Coach Mayle, before we wrap up here with my outro, last hurrah, last message to the fans. Come out Friday night, your stage.
Yeah, I mean, we just really appreciate the support. It's a grind. I mean, these kids have been in it since August. Complaining about being too hot in August to now, freezing to death at practice the last couple of days, but still putting in the work. And to know that their community is behind them by showing up means the world to them. And we are, I think, 15-1 or 2 over the last couple years at home. So, and being at home makes a big difference, and especially when there's energy in the crowd, it just puts you in the right mindset, and it definitely propels the kids to perform at their highest level. So, we just want everybody to come out to the game, and we don't take these playoff opportunities for granted. So it isn't something that comes all the time. I mean. So we just got to show up and be there. So, make sure you go down and watch the Philip Barbour girls win the state volleyball championship on Thursday, and then show up Friday night for our playoff game.
Yeah, 100%. Colts have earned that number 3 seed, highest ever for a Colts team going into the WVSSC playoffs. So again, come out and support these young men. That's going to wrap up a special Veterans Day edition of the Colts Corral. Huge thanks to Coach Mayle and to Mike Holliday for joining us and sharing their insights and stories. And again, Mike, another huge thank you to you for your service over the years, for all you do for the kids of Barbour County. You've been here a long time, and you don't know how many lives you've touched. You really don't. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart and the rest of the community's heart for what you do for everybody here in Barbour County. We appreciate you, man. Again, thanks for your service, and especially here on Veterans Day. Colts open up the playoffs this Friday night, 7 o'clock, at home against South Harrison. Don't miss it, guys. It's going to be a dandy. Like, subscribe, and share this video to support the Colts and honor our veterans. Until next time, go Colts.